In this video, we'll learn that the most important factor that will help you to avoid procrastination is not to allow yourself to fall into the habit in the first place. A person must be able to determine how much he has to do and how much he can take on in one day. While scheduling the tasks of the day can help, there is a limit to what he can do. To avoid this situation, the best thing to do is learn how to say yes or no to any task that is given to you. To do this successfully, look at what you are already doing. If you have already accepted 5 assignments, you should not take on another one until you have a firm grasp on those 5 others. Do not be afraid to decline another opportunity when you already have other tasks to complete. It is all right to wait for another assignment to come in while you work on your current assignments. Also, it's better to have everything done before allowing yourself to take on another assignment. Another thing that can happen is that you take on some work which is not as important as you think. It is one of those situations where you accept a project which you think is worth half your paycheck, but it turns out not to even be worth half a day's salary. To know how much an assignment is worth, simply ask questions. It is important to know how much you will be paid for it. Try to determine the amount of energy and effort needed to complete that assignment. If it will pay you $20 for 6 hours worth of work, think about it. Could you make more money working on a different project for the same amount of time? Another thing you should do is to determine if you really want to accept an assignment. If you accept a project which you do not really want to do, it will take you much longer to complete, and it will be easier to push it back until the last minute. When trying to stop procrastination from happening, it is better to evaluate assignments and accept the ones which would be worth your energy. Hence, don't be afraid to say no to any worthless activities that rob you of your time. Before you give in to anyone's demands, ask yourself this simple question: does this serve my higher goal and purpose? If you instinctively say no to that question, don't hesitate any longer to walk away from it. Oftentimes, people tend to be the yes man to others and are simply too afraid to turn down their offer, even if they knew that they were being taken advantage of, or what others demanding of them to do is a total waste of time. Many believe that saying yes was the only option if they wanted to build connections, foster friendships, and relationships. Above all, everyone wants to look like a nice and agreeable person, and saying no has such a negative connotation. They end up saying yes too often till others assume that it was their default setting to say yes and begin to take advantage. Hey, can you help me finish up this urgent assignment that I need handed in tomorrow? I've got a date tonight for the 10th time. Truth. I couldn't be bothered with the assignments when I know you'll do it for me when I ask. Hey, it's been a while. I saw your pictures to Maldives a year ago. Can you send me a list of hotels, restaurants, and recommendations? In the next 2 hours. Love ya. Truth, I'm too lazy to Google the place and plan the trip myself, but hey, I know you'll do it. It's crazy that we're willing to sacrifice our time and energy just because saying no makes you look like a bad guy. Not to mention that most people are actually addicted to saying yes. They give in to the temptation to grab a cig, go for a drink, etc., when their top priority tasks were put on hold and probably never accomplished. Sound familiar? Truth is, the day you learn how to say no would be the day that changes your life for the better. Learn to be more completely honest to yourself before you agree to something. Always ask yourself, does this serve my higher purpose? And answer honestly, whether it's a yes or a no. Decide, and don't be afraid to say no. What would happen if you decline? Would the world cease to exist? I don't think so. Would the person demanding it from you feel offended or butthurt? Maybe. But that's totally okay. It really doesn't matter because you know that what they demand from you doesn't serve you. And more often than not, they're not angry at you. They're most likely indignant because now they have to do all the inconvenient stuff on their own instead of placing the responsibility on others. Remember this. You are not required to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. Just because you're capable of completing a task doesn't mean you should or must. So, don't be afraid of the word no. No is not a bad word. In fact, it's an appropriate word. It's okay not to do something that doesn't serve you at all. It's okay to put off activities that expend your time when you've other more important tasks in hand. The word no draws a clear boundary to make sure that others respect your time, limits, who you are as a person, and what's most important to you.
For more free educational content, visit learnforfree.biz. Content produced and distributed by AllSuperInfo.